Okay, so you've got to listen to this. It's okay to be a unicorn, or is it? A school district just outside of Columbus, Ohio, asking a guest author earlier this month not to read his book about being different to elementary school students. It is the latest example of books becoming controversial in schools without any credible reason, and it's certainly not the last, including in Florida, where math textbooks are being removed from the curriculum because of alleged references to critical race theory. Seriously, in math books. Okay. Math textbooks. Jason Tharp is the author of It's Okay to Be a Unicorn. He joins me now. Also with us, CNN political commentator Bakari Sellers. Let's get into this. Good evening, gentlemen. Jason, I want to start with your experience. You were able to go to the school in the Buckeye Valley School District, but you couldn't talk about or read It's Okay to Be a Unicorn. Why not?
Well, I was told the day before the visit that they were afraid that I was coming with an agenda by the principal, who was not wanting to have that conversation with me. Kind of said above him, he's doing his job, passing it down, that they felt that I was coming with an agenda. There was one parent that was concerned, and they chose to have me remove any discussions about the unicorn in a book because they thought I made a gay book, whatever that is.
Some parents thought that your book was a tool to recruit children to be gay. Really?
One parent. This was one parent, from what I was told, that they made this decision off of.
And to be clear, so everyone else knows, what exactly is your book about?
It's actually a story about life growing up in a small town where I would share my dreams and would kind of get laughed at. It made me feel insecure about myself. So I figured out a way to tell the story from a point of view where a kid would understand. So a unicorn lives in a horse town where the rule is that you can't be a unicorn. So he's become this fantastic hat maker and has covered his horn with these wonderful hats. And he chose to speak at the guest at Hoopapalooza, which is celebrating everything horse-tastic and everything like that. And he decides he's going to kind of reveal that he's a unicorn. But as he's going through, he goes through all the things that kids start to go through when they feel different. Like, what if my friends don't like me? What if this? What if that? And then when he does the reveal of, he steps into it, he realizes that he doesn't really care so much what everybody else thinks, that he actually loves himself. And for the first time, he really felt good about being who he was.
Okay, this is what the Buckeye Valley superintendent says. Unfortunately, before we were able to gather all the facts, there was some miscommunication between the central office and the building administration that led to the alteration of the author's original plan. Although our students were still able to enjoy the event, I regret that the circumstances played out as they did, which may have led to misunderstandings. The district says there were some parental concerns here. So are parents doing the work to understand what's exactly being taught? Jason?
Well, what's interesting is I live 12 miles from this school. I would have went and sat down and had a cup of coffee and brought my sketches and would have discussed all of this. Certainly isn't reflective in the book sales, as the parents of this school visit ordered almost 500 copies of various books that I write, but they also ordered a lot of the unicorn book. They had all the material 6 to 8 weeks before I got there, and it was the day before when all this happened. So I certainly didn't get any, inquiries about anything from the parents. More the opposite of how excited they were that it was coming.
Yeah. Bakari, you have been sitting by patiently waiting, and I can't wait to hear you weigh in on this. But we need to say what's happened with Jason is really just a microcosm of what's happening across the country right now, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what we have to do is a few things. One, realize it's okay to be gay. Two, it's okay to be a unicorn. Three, go out and buy Jason's book so that more young people have an opportunity to feel good about themselves. But what we're seeing is this wave of anti-intellectualism just sweep the country, whether or not it's Ron DeSantis in Florida or Henry McMaster in South Carolina or Governor Abbott in Texas. You see these Republican governors who don't want people to feel comfortable in their own skin, who don't want people to learn about their history, and who are afraid of growth and development in young people. It's okay to be a unicorn. I tell Sadie Don every single day that she is, and this is bad English, I know, but I tell her that she's the most beautifulest princess mermaid in the entire world. those are her two favorite things. And yes, it's okay to be a princess. It's okay to be a mermaid, and it's okay to be a unicorn.
Wow. They ever watched Wizard of Oz? I mean, okay. So
I don't know why people are so scared of gay folk, Don. Maybe that's the question. I mean, that's what I don't get. I don't know why people are so scared of gay folk in the South.
because it's the magic. It's the magic. People are afraid of the magic. You wouldn't have the Magic Kingdom without gay people. You wouldn't have the magic of just about everything. But, you know, hey, that's a whole nother show. Did you want to say something, Jason?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's amazing to me that it seems like people have forgotten what it was like to be a kid. For me, I write these books because I'm writing to that one kid that feels different, alone, sad, confused, and just doesn't feel like they fit in. And I write because I was that weird kid. And it's just amazing that we want to take this creative outlets away from our children, because books saved me as a kid. And my hope is that it'll reach that one kid. And it just seems so crazy that we would want to take that from kids, because you don't know what book is going to affect what kid in what way.
Yeah.
And it's really sad.
I was just glancing down at some of these numbers because you mentioned Florida, Bakari. In Florida, the Department of Education has rejected more than 50 math textbooks for next year, 71% in grades K-5. Some of them allege references to critical race theory. Okay, Bakari, critical race theory is not part of the curriculum, and the idea that it is in the math textbooks. I mean, seriously?
I mean, wait till they find out that some math is non-binary, right? That was a joke. I'm here all week. Don't worry about it. But I mean, we should laugh about it if it wasn't so sad. I'm not quite sure what exactly we're doing. I mean, if you want to bring it back to the 50,000-foot view, it's Putin-esque. It's authoritarianism. It's showing what we don't want the United States of America to be. I mean, this is the proverbial book burning minus the smoke and flames. Schools should be a place, and I'm not for cancel culture on any side. I think that if you want to bring somebody that's a right-wing nut to the campus, you should be able to do that. I think if you want to be able to educate people on whatever, you should be able to do that. Schools are a place where you should have an opportunity to learn as much as possible about what the world is and what it should be or could be. And what we're doing right now is just stifling them in what we believe America is. And unfortunately, I don't think America fits the mold for any of us on this panel.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to disagree with you on that. I don't think the right-wing nut job, but I wouldn't want that talk to my kids. A conservative, yes. A rational conservative person, yeah. Absolutely.
Fair enough.
But not a right-wing nut job or a left-wing nut job, a nut job of any wing. I've got to run, though. Hey, this is not the end of this conversation. Jason, best of luck to you. I appreciate you coming on and telling
Buy Jason's
your
book.
story.
Go buy it, everybody, so everybody can be a unicorn.
And just remember, it is okay to be a unicorn. Here I am. We always talk about me being a unicorn, Bakari, but that's because I'm the only black person in prime time on cable.
That's a few mimosas in, Don, before you turn into a unicorn.
Bye, y'all. Thank you very much. Best of luck.